Hello, family and friends. It's time for my second Front Porch Talks from the Heartland. This video is going to cover a couple of topics that are near and dear to my heart. Um, they were suggested by both my wife, Tiffany Farner, and a good friend in Ohio, Mike Howell. We're going to be talking about my military experience and um, preparedness. So we'll talk about my military experience first. As I stated in my introductory video to a few weeks ago, that at the time that I graduated high school, I felt that I had three choices. I could go to university, I could go to work, or I could join the military. Well, I decided to join the military because I was burnt out on formal education and felt that going to university would be a waste of my time and money. And at that point in time, because I wasn't mentally prepared for it, and I wanted to get out and experience life and experience the world and see what was out there. So I joined the Navy in 1989. I was on the delayed entry program, which allowed me to finish my senior year of high school and secured my positions in certain schools and stuff through the military. Graduated high school in 1990. Had a science focus of my education, physics, biology, chemistry, all of those, the tough courses. And had about a month off in between for my senior summer. The month of June, I didn't do much of anything except I worked and spent time with family and friends and stuff. And I went in July 5th, the day after Independence Day. That's when I went on active duty, and I reported for boot camp up in Great Lakes in Chicago. And 8 weeks of boot camp. It basically was the indoctrination into how to function within the bureaucracy of the military, and gain the basic knowledge necessary to function in a job shipboard. About 6 weeks in, we found out that Iraq had invaded Kuwait, and we were told that about 98% of us would be going overseas to fight in the Iraq conflict. Some people call it the first Gulf War. Those of us that were in it call it Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm. And so I went through basic training, graduated basic training in September of 1990, reported to Naval Air Station Pensacola for aircrew training, and then went from aircrew training to aviation mechanics school up at Naval Air Station Memphis. Went from there to the shipyard in Philadelphia, where I waited for 2 weeks. And waited for my flight to fly over to Riyadh and Bahrain. Caught a international flight to Bahrain, and that was a long trip. We made stops in Sigonella, Sicily, and Riyadh, and then Bahrain. And then I was flown out to my carrier that I was stationed on by a cargo plane. It took us out to the ship. After that, I got assigned to my squadron and stuff, and for the next 4 years, I deployed overseas and got to see the world and stuff. Got to see foreign ports of interest. All over the Mediterranean and North Africa. It was some good times. Had a lot of combat experience because not many people knew about it, but we were involved in the Somalian Civil War of '92, and we were also involved in the Bosnian crisis of '93, the Bosnian Civil War. And I was part of both of those campaigns. But preparedness in my military experience. Well, let's talk about preparedness. Mike wants to talk about total preparedness. What he defines as total preparedness is being prepared both physically, mentally, and spiritually. So we've got 3 different ways of being prepared. To be prepared means to be ready to do something or to take action. In some way, shape, or form. Preparedness is the state of being ready to take those actions. So I'll talk about physical preparedness first. The way I look at preparedness, the best way to be prepared is to take a kind of a broad scope of preparedness physically. There are 3 things that you need to be prepared: food and water, adequate clothing, proper shelter. And then in certain areas of the world, you might even include transportation. So reliable transportation. Now, the preparedness that we're talking about is for survival, continued existence in the mortal form that you find yourself in. So what you want to do is you want to have about anywhere from 6 to 12 months worth of food supplies, food storage. That includes drinkable water, potable water. You want to have adequate clothing for the climate that you're in. So like here in rural Iowa, we have all 4 seasons, and winter is about 3.5 to 4 months long. Spring is about 2 to 3 months long. Summer is about 2 to 3 months long. Autumn's about 2 to 3 months long. So you have to have adequate clothing for yourself and for your family to cover those temperature extremes. So you want to put a lot of forethought into what do I need now? What do I have that is functional and in good condition? What do I need now to make my physical ability to withstand the temperatures and to dress adequately for societal standards? And is it something that can be, is it something that's going to have to be replaced after a period of time? Or is it something that can be repaired after a period of time? Because if you take a look at things like shoes, the majority of shoes and stuff nowadays that you get through like places like Walmart and Payless and places like that are not good quality shoes. They're designed to be used and thrown away, and they don't last. Things that you want to look for in a good shoe: leather uppers, stitched soles, which means that the soles can be replaced and repaired over any number of times. Metal grommets, and something that fits comfortably on your foot. So that's talking about like basic like shoes and stuff. Clothes, you want to have stuff that is going to allow you to do what you need to do in maintenance of your property and of your food storage and stuff like that. Food storage, it's good to learn skills such as like pressure canning. You can store meats and stuff for up to 2 or 3 years. My wife and I have done this. We before we moved up here to Iowa, we pressure canned about 200 pounds of meat, all different kinds, both pork, beef, and chicken. And we've just recently used up that last little bit of meat, and we're starting to plan our next batch that we're going to do this summer. But old school skills such as pressure canning are things to prepare yourself mentally, intellectually for having those skills. And having those abilities to be able to do stuff like that reduces your requirement and reliance on the grocery store. You may go to the grocer or to the meat market or wherever and buy the things that you need in the way of unprocessed foods, process it yourself, and store it to where you have it for future use. That's one way of being self-sufficient and being self-reliant. Another thing that you may want to consider is gardening, which my wife and I had started about 2 years ago. We put in our first garden and had some success. We just kind of experimented. We did kind of a shotgun approach. We picked about 7 or 8 different types of vegetables that we wanted to try growing and see what worked, what didn't, and we learned from it. So preparedness, there are any number of things that can happen, but when it comes to preparedness, I mean, you see all these things like the prepper shows, and you hear about all these gadgets and stuff that people come up with and things like that. The way I approach preparedness is the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Because the simpler it is, the easier it is to maintain. The easier it is to replace something if something is worn out from use, or breaks, or becomes non-functional. So You just want to keep in mind you also have to take into consideration for preparedness your physical ability, your physical limitations, your physical capabilities. Um, and know when you can rely on yourself for certain things and when you have to rely on a team effort, which may mean reaching out to members of the community in which you live for assistance with certain things. Most people are most people in urban areas have different needs and different situations that they may face as opposed to like rural America. So take that into consideration when making your plans for your emergency preparedness. I think the key to it is to be generally prepared and educating yourself mentally for the different skills that you need, the different resources that you need, and applying that to your life on a daily basis. By applying it on a daily basis, it becomes habit. When it becomes habit, it becomes something that you do without having to really think about or put much thought into because you've already educated yourself to the point of it becoming a lifestyle. Um, be 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 picky and choosy about the information that you read. Don't read everything that's out there. I mean, a lot of prepper manuals and stuff talk about things that are beyond our control: asteroids hitting the Earth, volcanoes erupting, earthquakes. Understand that there are things that are within your control, and to focus on prepping and using your resources to prepare in that way for the things that you can control. The things that are beyond your control, don't worry about it. If it happens, it happens. Deal with it then. But if you do a basic preparation, have yourself prepared with food and water, adequate clothing, adequate shelter, you'll be prepared for 98% of everything that's going to happen. Maybe even 99% of everything that's going to happen. Short of a asteroid hitting your house or hitting nearby to where you are everything that you had used to prepare for decimated is decimated. Um, yeah, don't worry about it. Um, I mean that's worst case scenario, and chances are you wouldn't be alive if that happened. So use common sense. Common sense means good judgment in everything that you do, whether it be physical preparation, mental preparation. You know yourself the best. You know yourself how to how you learn the best and how you gather information the best. What sticks with you. Now the final thing that I'm going to talk about is spiritual preparation, because each and every single one of us has a spirit. Each and every single one of us has a soul. And I can talk from either an Eastern philosophy or the Middle Eastern philosophy of Christianity, which I'm a follower of. Um, I would say for everyone out there, find a philosophy that is best fitting for you. I believe in Christ. I believe in Christ's church. I believe that Christ is the way to eternal life. By following him and his example and his precepts. So I can talk from that standpoint. Other standpoints I can't specify from, but I have read numerous theological texts. I've read the Quran. I've read the King James Version of the Bible. I've read the Book of Mormon. I've read the Tao Te Ching. There's many different philosophies out there, and all of them have some truth. Not all of them have all the truth. Find what works for you, and adapt it, and master it. Kind of like what Bruce Lee did. He didn't believe in one style of martial arts being greater than another. He believed in looking at a fighting style, taking from it that which is good, and mastering it, throwing away that which was pointless or cumbersome or too intricate. He believed in simplicity. And that is true to this day. And the more complex that you make something, whether it be spiritual preparation, mental preparation, or physical preparation, the easier it is to be bogged down and become ineffective. So spiritual preparation for me has been to become a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm a priesthood holder within the church. I am also an elders quorum president, which means I'm in charge of elders quorum presidency secretary, I should say. I'm in charge of making sure that all the elders within my branch are communicated with in a timely manner as to things that we want to discuss, things we want to study, things that are important to the branch, and what we're going to do to address them. I'm also a primary teacher, an LDS primary teacher for the kids that are about 8 years old that are becoming baptized. So I'm responsible for their teaching and for their understanding of the 4 standard works that our church uses. For me to say that my church is the one and only true church, I can say that without a doubt for myself. I cannot say that for everybody else. I believe that we each have our own agency to choose and to utilize. Agency meaning ability to judge, right of choice, right of consciousness, individualism, to believe how we want to believe. And we are each held accountable on the last judgment day that we each are going to face. Whether it be here in mortality or in the spirit realm. I believe that we will all go before Christ, and our degree of glory that we achieve will be based upon how we acted and treated others in this life, and also how well we face the challenges that are placed before us. You know, there are certain books and stuff that I would recommend people reading uh, for spirituality to gain a better understanding of not only um, what religion actually is, um, but spiritual preparation is a relationship between you and God, between you and the Creator, between you and the Maker of the universe, however you want to address Him. Don't let anybody ever tell you that your way of thinking is wrong, because it's not. We are each on this journey, we are each on this path to enlightenment and to immortality. And we are each at different stages of our spiritual growth. Spirituality is probably the least understood aspect of humanity, of being human. And I could I could make an entire talk on just spirituality. But I'm gonna cut it off here. Preparedness, spiritually, mentally, and physically. There's a lot that can be said about it. I've already said too much without complicating matters too much. Remember to keep it simple. And things will generally work out better for you by keeping things simple than by overcomplicating them and taking on too much. That's another thing too, for preparedness. You need to time management is big on that too. Time management and resource management. So if you're not good at these things, learn ways to learn systems, develop systems, try things that work for you and don't work for you, and prepare yourself to preparation is a continuing journey. It's not a once and done type thing. It's something that is fluid, it's in flux, it changes as situations change and arise. It's life. Yeah, it's life. So don't really know what else to say about it. That's my more than 2 cents worth on preparedness and preparation and preparing and my military experience. And I hope you all enjoy this little talk. I kind of rambled a little bit, which I understand is that's kind of the way I am when I get on complex topics. I have a tendency to bounce around and kind of put information out there from my personal experience. So I hope you all enjoy this video. I hope it answers some questions. Hope it enlightens you. Hope it sparked some thought. And I hope you enjoy it. Next week, I don't know what it's going to be on. Next week is Easter. Depends on what topics I'm given this week by by those of you that watch this video. We'll see what comes up. If nothing else, I'll pick some topics and go from there. Well, everyone, know that if you're struggling, know that if you're facing challenges in your life, that you are loved. Nothing is so bad that you need to think about doing things that would harm yourself or be harmful to others. Be a light in this world of shadows. Everything is a choice, and use that choice, that freedom of agency, that freedom of choice to make the world a better place, not only for yourself but for those around you. And when I say those around you, that extends to you, then your immediate family members, then to your neighbors, to your community, to your county, to your state, to your country, to the world. And try and be a positive influence. And if you affect the lives of just one person, you've been successful. If you can make a difference for one person, whether it be one person other than yourself, you have been successful. Know that you are loved. God bless each and every one of you. Take care, and I'll see you next week.